Good morning. This is Lynn Eisberg, checking in by phone.
Good morning, Lynn. I can hear you just fine.
Oh, good. Okay. I'm going to sign off promptly at 9 to go to my doctor's appointment.
Oh, brother.
Morning, Dale.
Good morning, Ray.
Hey, Rob.
Morning, Ray.
Gee, who else is showing up here? Good. Everybody's loading in.
Oh, good. We've got Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh, good. Yeah. Mute.
Good morning from San Francisco County.
Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Good morning.
Hey, Craig.
Actually, I'm in the most beautiful place to be having a meeting from. This is the Marines Memorial Theater up in San Francisco.
Wow.
A fantastic place. This is the Urban Area Security Initiative conference for the year, and spent all day yesterday with all manner of important morning information and keeping our community safe.
Yeah. Thought maybe you were left over from the show last night. So, yeah.
So you have to go this morning at 8:15, you said, Jeff?
Yeah, our conference starts at 8:30. So I'm tucked in now already.
Okay, we'll wait a minute or so to make sure we've got everybody who wants to get in. Get in.
Dale, it's Jeremy. Do we have a quorum yet? I can't tell.
I believe we do.
Okay, thanks.
1, 2, 3, 4. I believe we do because we've got Lynn on the phone.
Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6.
6. Yeah, I agree. 6.
We'll give Give it just one more minute here and then we'll go ahead and get started. Normally we get Dave and Vic.
Yeah,
Night.
Chris isn't here yet. I talked to Chris yesterday. He was coming.
Okay. We'll wait just a minute because I didn't get any messages that anybody was going to miss the meeting. So,
Right.
okay, there's Chris.
Great. Well, we got 7.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay. It is 8:02. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And first we will do a roll call. And Lynn Eisberg. Can you hear me, Lynn?
Present. Yes,
Thank you.
I'm here. Mhm.
Great. And I see Chris,
I'm here.
Ronis, and Ray, and Bud. Are you there? I see Bud. I see Rob Young,
Here.
and I am here. Marianne, are you there by any chance that I just can't see you? No. Okay, Jerry Sheffrin, any chance you're here? I just don't see you. No, I don't see Jerry. And Vic, any chance you're here? I just don't see you. Okay, and Craig is here.
Present.
Okay, and Dave Howes. Dave, are you here? I don't see him. Okay, we do have a quorum. Let's get started. We've got a lot on our agenda, and it's going to be a very busy month of November for the committee. So let's try and keep things concise as we move forward. First of all, oral communications. Do I have anything on oral communications?
There's one from MJ.
MJ, okay?
Thanks, Dale. I'm MJ Lee. This week, you committee members received a letter from me. I wanted to make sure that all EPC members were aware of the disparaging remarks Dale Fowl made about female members on the Wildfire Preparedness Committee. I ask EPC members to speak up and disavow this behavior by your chairperson. Some people in Portola Valley don't hold Dale accountable. They say, oh, Dale was just upset, or maybe you provoked him, or gee, Dale hasn't done this to me. When people make excuses like this, they deny support for victims and add to the pain. But to me, it is worse to act as if this incident did not happen. So I'm asking you to speak up. Don't be a silent bystander. Let Dale and the public know these offensive comments are unacceptable. If you call out this toxic behavior, you will help eradicate it, and you will be supporting the victims. But if you stay silent, then you encourage bad behavior to become our town's culture. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you. I have one comment, and I didn't put it on the agenda simply because I wouldn't get much going, but Jeremy has reached out and suggested that they adjust the charter of the Wildfire Preparedness Committee to remove the liaison from the EPC. We had that on our agenda for several months. No one volunteered really to go to the Wildfire Committee as a liaison. I suggested to Jeremy not to change the charter yet, and we'll agendize this in January and see if we can convince someone from this committee to join the Wildfire Preparedness Committee. Okay, and with that, again, we've got a busy day. First of all, let's go to approval of the minutes. Do I have any adjustments to the minutes?
So move.
To move
Second.
to is accept them. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Minutes approved. Okay, and I just noticed that we are full except for Mary Ann. I see that Jerry and Dave Howes and Vic have all joined, so thank you all. Okay, on to the next item, of the agenda, the SMC alert update.
Morning, thank you for inviting me. Currently, the SMC alert is scheduled to change to our new sign-in portal. That'll happen on Wednesday, the 9th, approximately 9 a.m. right now is our scheduled time. Woodside Fire Protection District, so the town of Portola Valley and the towns of Woodside have led the way. Selena and all of the chief officers of the Woodside Fire Protection District have sending authority on the system and the authority to write templates so that they can create special messages specific for the community that can be used time and time again, especially messages that need to be quickly delivered in times of emergency. We've run numerous tests on the system now using the coast side for the notification of the coastal sirens used for tsunami or all hazard. And we are intending, in conjunction with Woodside Fire, to run a test for Portola Valley on the 9th after we do the switchover. So anybody who responds to the test will actually be seeing the new sign-in portal. We've tested the new sign-in portal. Right now, we have our highway networks on there, and we're working on getting some additional template selection messages in there, time of day selection mode into there. That did not pass the most recent test, so we've taken it back into prototype mode, and we're working on resolving that issue. We've been working with Rave Mobile Alerting, who will be the new service provider, and they've been responsive to all of our requests, and we're looking forward to having similar or better service levels than we had during our prior system. So the switch over of the sign-in portal, Wednesday at about 9 o'clock in the morning, there'll be two messages. One will come out on the old system saying that, yes, we have changed systems, and one only a moment or so later coming out from the new system. Those will come email only. So I'm open to any questions, and I know I saw Selena was here, so we can answer any of your questions.
So one quick question, will everybody that's on the current system just automatically move to the new one?
Yes, anybody who's on the current system, if you do nothing at all, you will continue to receive alerts as you have in the past. However, people who do go in and sign into the new sign-in portal will be able to take advantage of new features. But if you do nothing, you will still receive alerts as you always did. We've moved the entire database, 110,000 records. We've been able to remove about 8,500 duplicate records from the system so far. And signing in with the new portal does not mean you'll get duplicate messages. It deduplicates after it creates the message, and then it creates a duplication report for us. And from that duplication report, we'll be able to remove old accounts where a new account exists.
And are you going to send something out to people so they have a sense for the value of signing up, like what the new features are? Will that be part of the follow-up email?
Yes, that's going to be explained in the second email. The first email is simply going to say, you know, hi, this is the old SMC alert. We appreciate your participation. In a moment, you're going to receive an email from the new system. The email that comes from the new system is going to explain some of the new features. It's going to have the direct link to get into the sign-up portal. So we're going to try to make as much value into the message that's in that second email.
Great. And then the last question, is SMC Red moving over to this too?
So SMC Alert Red was an artifact of actually not our last system. It was an artifact of our prior system to that. And it's all of the red side system still exists in the new system. It's just how we have segmented the data. So instead of people who are with the fire department needing 3 different accounts, one for sending, one for receiving as a public member, and one for receiving as an agency member, that can all be folded into one account now, which simplifies keeping track of people and keeping information current.
Thank you.
And I have one question. Do we know what time of day this is coming out yet?
She said that time.
Approximately 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Okay.
Yeah, I have there is a exercise being held in Half Moon Bay that I have to be at noon. Originally, we were going to switch over at noon, but then because of scheduling, we decided 9 a.m., which is a respectable time. And since we're using an email, we're not going to wake anybody up. They can tend to it when they get to it.
I think Selena's already put out an announcement about that.
Yes, Selena did. She was working, she ran some language for a message past me the other day and had her chief take a look at it. And it very accurately describes what we're going to be doing on this coming Wednesday.
Great. And Selena, do you have some comments?
No, just, it's correct that we sent it all out. I posted it on all the forums. Carrie's going to be making a separate post and then adding it to the newsletter as well. So hopefully we'll get good response.
Great. Outstanding. Any other questions while we have our experts here? Okay, so hopefully this goes well and hopefully we learn a lot from it. Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. This is the culmination of. All right, take care.
Okay, thank you. I guess it's normal. We didn't have any questions from the public that I saw either. I'm sorry, we've got a lot of people on the call, so I may miss hands unless they show up. Okay, on to item number 6, the Ladris evacuation modeling software. Rob, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, thank you. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Okay. In August, this is for the Ladris traffic evacuation modeling software. In August of this year, Don Bullard asked Ron Eastman, myself, and Dale to evaluate that software because Woodside Fire was interested in it. Over 2 weeks of working with the software, several suggestions for improvements, including its user interface and key features, were made. And then the software was reviewed in operation with Don Bullard. Don then identified several important functions that this modeling software can provide in helping prepare and train for an evacuation. And Don responded to Ladris with a memo stating what he felt was needed to advocate for the use of the software. A few weeks ago, Ladris made a presentation to Woodside Fire Protection District and the town of Woodside and our town manager, Jeremy Dennis. After that, Jeremy made contact with Dale, and it was proposed that the EPC evacuation subcommittee work with Ladris and Woodside Fire Protection District during November to prepare a short presentation and recommendation for the Ladris software for our next meeting, the December EPC meeting. I made a mistake there. That should be EPC meeting. So that's where we're standing on that. If anybody is interested in this, we would especially appreciate them being involved in the evacuation subcommittee. Any questions on that?
I just have a question, Rob. Is that anywhere used already?
Can you repeat that, Marianne? I'm sorry.
Is this used already anywhere, or is this brand new? Is this used anywhere?
Actually, Leo is on the line here, and he's the CEO of Ladris. Leo, can you tell us where this is being used?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you very much for asking. I'm calling in from a remote location, so no camera here today, but can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, just fine. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, so we're used in counties and cities in California and beyond, as well as by some of the major environmental consulting firms. So we've got Nevada County SWCA environmental consultants, been approved for use by the County of Ventura, contract pending there, Calaveras County, City of Irvine, Orange County Emergency Management actually votes to authorize it for the Harbor region next week, which includes Newport, Laguna Beach, UCI, Costa Mesa, and also Irvine, I think, again, used by several counties in cities in Texas, I'm sorry. And where else? Yeah, town of Truckee, Truckee Fire Protection District. And also, yeah, working on several other opportunities in the Bay as well. So yeah, mostly in
Thank you.
California. Yeah.
Jeremy
Is
has,
there anybody in the Bay Area that's using it or just people looking at it?
Currently, if adopted, this Woodside would be the first in the Bay to use it, although the Department of Emergency Management at the county level is observing the process and has been involved in some of the kind of earlier parts of that. I should also mention that the company retains the services of Tom Kova, perhaps the foremost evacuations modeling expert in the United States, and the software has been validated and backtested by him, as well as many others over the last 2 years, as well as specifically for Woodside and Portola Valley by Rob, Dale, and many of the others and Dawn at the Woodside Fire Protection District. As Rob mentions, the company worked closely with Dawn to do validation of the features.
Okay, Jeremy, you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Dale. First of all, I wanted to thank Leo for the time that he spent with me. I have to say it's a very impressive software. I'm thankful to the EPC, the subcommittee, to be working on this, have worked on this, and be working on this. A question that I would ask the group as they're thinking through this, the benefits of the software to me are obvious, and I would appreciate any feedback from the EPC on how the tool should be used by the town. And just to peel back the onion just a wee bit, one of the conversations Leo and I had was, while the tool is incredibly valuable, how would we use the tool on a regular basis, and does that even matter? So there were questions like that that Leo and I were kind of going back and forth on. So any feedback and recommendations from EPC on how the tool will be used, et cetera, would be really helpful. Again, I think a lot of it's obvious, but I think a little deeper dive is always useful. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. I think the plan here is, if the committee is happy. Oh, I see Rebecca's hand up. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, I wanted to know if the tool has been used in an active incident.
It has. Yeah, so in Nevada County, the River Fire, the tool was used. I will say that we recommend, in general, that the tool be used for modeling and planning. It's not necessarily intended to be used operationally, although we do have customers that use it that way. The town of Truckee also used it this year during the mosquito fire to prepare their evacuation plans 3 days earlier than they otherwise would have, and rewrote all their plans on the go. Again, we encourage use well ahead of active events, but it does get used that way at times.
Dale, through the chair, if I can piggyback on that, just to give a little specific example here, you run a ton of simulations and you start to see patterns. And for instance, if you see that you run a variety of simulations and cars drive through a particular area 95% of the time, for instance, it may make sense to focus mitigation measures there first in lieu of areas that have fewer cars. That's a way to sort of think about how the tool can be used in the way that Leo just described.
Okay, great. Any other questions by the committee or the public?
Dale, is the best way to find out information to just go to their website to get details, or is there some other source that we have?
Well, I was just coming to that, Jerry. You can go to their website, which I looked at, and I don't think has all the detail that is necessary. That's why I think we're going to have at least one, maybe two meetings in the month of November, which Rob will lead. I will probably have to send out a little email to try and find some time. So any of you that would like to attend and be involved, with the EVAC subcommittee, evaluating the software, asking the questions that Jeremy suggested, and so on. I mean, Rob has a lot of experience already with Ladris, but they've made improvements. And so I think the objective would be at the December meeting to probably not have a live demo, but some examples of how it works, and then a recommendation on how to proceed with Ladris at the December meeting. Again, is there anybody who would specifically like to be involved in the EVAC meetings evaluating Ladris this month?
What does it mean to be evaluating it?
Well, what we'll do is, Rob, why don't you tell him?
So, but what we're going to do, I've used it for a couple of weeks, and it runs very fast, and you're able to set up certain parameters about all these roads are open or certain roads are closed, or in the middle of it you can close a certain road. You can add more cars in certain locations. But our goal here is, and I'll be working closely with Don Bullard and with Leo, is to give a presentation to everybody in the EPC and the entire community for our next meeting in December, for basically some screenshots of how this software works and what the results are. We'll also, as Jeremy suggested, and with Don, we're going to be listing what we feel that the most important uses for this would be for Woodside Fire and for the town. Woodside Fire in this case is the main customer, but Don really wanted Jeremy to understand what was going on for the town. And so we'll be reaching out to Jeremy a lot during this period over this month to understand his desires, his needs. And so there'll be a more formal presentation in November of this, and Leo will be involved in that presentation as well as other members of the subcommittee or other people that want to be involved in it.
Yeah, I'd like to be in on these discussions this month, if I may.
Okay, absolutely. Anybody else besides Bud?
So are we going to just use the evacuation subcommittee for this, or are we going to just do a separate group?
No, we'll just use the EVAC subcommittee.
Okay.
But you can join ad hoc if you wish, Craig. There's not an issue there.
I think I'm already on it. So
Okay.
I just wasn't sure if we were just sort of signing up again or just.
So Craig, I think you're on the safety committee. Do you want to be part of the EVAC subcommittee?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you for volunteering.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else?
Track of our subcommittees.
Anybody else want to be involved here?
Dale, it's Jeremy. To the extent that it makes sense to have me at any meetings, I'm happy to be there. I'm on vacation a lot in November, but just love to make myself available too, if that's helpful. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Great. We'll reach out to everyone. I'll send out an email advising of when the subcommittee meetings are, and anybody on this group up to a limit of 6 can attend.
Can I just make one other comment? Is that the previous evaluations that were done were not done as part of the EPC. Ron Eastman, who's a lot smarter than I am, helped evaluate this a lot, and I really appreciate what Ron has done. Now we're actually going to formally move this into the EPC for the presentation that we'll make in the beginning of December.
Okay.
The nice thing is we could have Ron show up as a guest and he doesn't count against the quorum.
That's right. And I'm hoping Ron's on today, and I hope that he'll volunteer, because I understand the nuts and bolts. Ron understands the engine.
Okay. And this is a Monte Carlo simulation. Is that what I understand?
We'll go over that with Leo, because when we're done.
Yeah, we can do it in the subcommittee. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, if we're done with that item, we're going to go on to item number 7. And this is Vic and Rob. This is just a follow-up to the prioritization of the action items out of the traffic study, and Vic presented to the town council, I think, last week. Do you have any comments, Vic or Rob?
Yeah, let me make a couple of brief comments, knowing time is tight. We made a presentation on October 26th of our committee recommendations on the 14 items of the evacuation study. The town council was absolutely terrific. They were very receptive and supportive. And I'm happy to report to you they unanimously supported all of our recommendations and are prepared to move forward. Along those lines, I have a call set up today, actually later today, with Jeremy to talk about what that means in terms of engaging staff and moving forward on these recommendations consistent with high, medium, and low priorities. Rob Young was specifically acknowledged for his contribution to our effort on this committee as well. And Rob, I invite you, if you're available, if you'd like to join me this afternoon, we can talk offline about the call with Jeremy, but it's primarily just to kind of get the logistics lined up with how we're going to proceed. So in short, it was an excellent experience. It was very well supported. And I think the town council as it exists now, and hopefully as it will exist after the election, will continue to be fully supportive of our recommendations.
Okay. Thank you, Vic. And I watched your presentation in front of the council, so thank you for that. You were there in person. How nice. Okay, if there are
Great job.
any,
Congrats. Good.
if there are any no other comments on this, any comments again, please. A lot of people I can't see if somebody raises their hand sometimes.
Yeah, just one other brief comment, Dale. To the extent others are interested on any of these items that have been identified for priorities, I welcome their participation, as I emphasized in my presentation, not only from the committee, but obviously from the public. And Rob, I hope that you will continue to be available to work with us because you have a passion and a depth of knowledge about these issues, which I think will really help us get this accomplished. So I just wanted to add that as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Vic. I'll phone you this afternoon.
Sure.
Can we attach the presentation to maybe the next packet?
Sure. It was in one of the past packets. I'll be glad.
In the past, okay. I just didn't know if it was different than what you put in.
I'm sorry. No, there's no presentation per se. I verbally prepared it and went forward with it, but it followed the committee memo that was prepared on October 12th.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the last meeting's packet, Craig.
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't know if there was something that you did specifically for the town council, but yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, with that, we're going to move on. We're a little behind schedule. On to item number 8, discussion of the sheriff's contract in Portola Valley. We had this on last time. Just so people know, the town is in the process of negotiating the new contract with the sheriff, and they have asked all the committees if they have any input to the sheriff's contract. And I see Jeremy. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. Just a couple pieces of information for the committee here. Vice Mayor Wernikoff and Councilmember Alves are serving as the official subcommittee on the negotiations with the sheriff's office. Those have not formally begun. I anticipate they happen after the inauguration of Sheriff-elect Corpus. Last week at the council, there was a study session on this item, and Sheriff-elect Corpus was there. There were a few comments, but I think it's still early days as it relates to additional commentary. And certainly, if any members of the EPC or the EPC itself has a recommendation, the council and I would love to hear it. And also, this is obviously a venue for the public to share their ideas. We also have a portal online that has solicited 8 or 9 comments from the public so far, so we hope to continue to get those as well. And just as a final piece of information, the staff lead will be Melvin Gaines, the assistant town manager, who actually has done this similar kind of work in both Mountain View and East Palo Alto. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. The only comment I have is somehow to roll into this. If you remember the evacuation study, there were somewhere between 16 and 19 locations that would need traffic coordination in the event of an evacuation. And I don't know how you roll that into the discussion, but that is something that I think from an emergency standpoint needs to be discussed somehow. But that's the only comment I have. Any other comments from the committee? Craig?
Yeah, I would add to that. I think it's integrating with CERT, because I think the way we're going to cover those extra intersections is going to be with volunteers. And it's either going to be San Mateo volunteers or local CERT volunteers. So I think making sure that there's a connection between CERT and the sheriff's department for this kind of help on emergency evacuation, I think is going to be critical.
Yeah, Craig, just to remind you, one of the suggestions that was in the actions from the evac study that Vic presented to town council was to identify volunteers, and that didn't specifically say CERT volunteers, but you know, there would have to be some education. But yeah, that's part of hopefully a long-term plan, but I think it needs to be integrated. So thanks, Craig.
Yeah, no, I think that my point was specifically CERT. I mean, because we kind of think of CERT as fire department because, you know, they've helped lead the effort with Selena. But I think we just need to make sure that we get the sheriff to sort of see CERT as part of their resource when they're in an active incident.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on this item? Committee or public? Yeah. Ask again, if you have something to say, please raise your hand so it pops up and I can actually call on you. Okay, if that is it, I'm going to move on to the next item, which is Jerry's Zone Identification Awareness Project.
Okay, I'm going to try and share my screen and show you where I am with this now. Is that working? Can you see that or not?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the sticker that was designed by a combination of Kari's efforts and mine. And the intent or the recommendation is that this would not be a magnet, but would be a sticker that you would peel off the back and you could put it anywhere you wanted to put it. It provides the zone number very clearly, allows you, there's one error here, this needs to be a link to Zone Haven if you wish. It encourages you to sign up for SMC Alert. And at someone's recommendation at the last meeting, which I thought was a good idea, was to put a Q code on it where we could put additional information. Things that I'm thinking about would be, you know, what to put in your go bag, stuff like that, contact numbers, emergency numbers that people might want to get in an emergency that they couldn't find otherwise. So I guess first I'd like some feedback as to whether this, which would be approximately the size of a business card, makes sense.
A question about the get alerts for your phone and email, the stuff that's underlined. If you clicked on that, what happens?
Well, this would be a sticker, so
I understand, but if you
click on it.
If you put that into your how could you send to that? Is that going to work out? Just
yeah, my understanding is that would get you to where you could sign up for SMC Alert. And if you click the Zone Haven one, it would confirm that your Zone Haven number is the one that's listed. Or if you wanted to find out other information about other areas, Zone Haven number.
And Jerry, if you click the QR code, that would take you to a web page, and presumably would also have the Zone Haven and the sign up stuff on that page as well.
Exactly. We could put anything we want on that. It would just be a quick access for anyone who in an emergency situation was trying to decide, well, what about this? What about that? And hopefully we would have thought of many of those contingencies and put them on the Q code source.
Jerry, it's Vic.
Yes, Vic.
Okay, Jerry, I just wanted to comment on a minor issue of the sticker versus, some kind of a magnet. I found that when I put mine up, my similar notice that I have that we distributed, the fact that it was mobile was very helpful to take it off and take it with me to a phone or a location. So I'm a little bit more of a fan of something that's mobile rather than a sticking item. But just it's one observation to keep in mind in terms of what you decide to do. Whatever you decide is fine, but I wanted to mention
Well,
it.
I think it's a good point, Vic, and I've wrestled with this. I think it's up for the EPC to decide what they think would make the most sense. I was worried that people would lose it and in an emergency couldn't find where they had put it. But if they put the sticker up somewhere by their front door, by their telephone, whatever, it would be more clearly available. The other thing that I'm recommending is that people actually copy this with their copy machine and they put it in a laminated luggage tag. And that luggage tag would go on their go bag or any other source of something that they feel they might take with them in an emergency and want this information.
That's a great recommendation, and maybe that can go out with the item, however, whatever form it takes.
Correct. That would go in the letter with that recommendation.
Excellent.
Jerry, what I'm wondering, for people who maybe have glasses or don't see so well, if there's a lot of information here, if you make it small as a business card, will we be able to still read this?
Well, I actually printed it and have it in front of me, on a card right now. And I have my glasses on and I can read it. If I took my glasses off, I might not be able to read it. But to me, it's very clear. It's not, like a 5 by 10 card or something, or a 8.5 by 11 sheet, but it's got a fair amount of information, and it is, I think, quite readable. If you want, I can send this so that everyone could print it out and look themselves and see whether they think it's large enough for them to be able to read, or our town members to be able to read.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, you're in an emergency situation, where are my reading glasses? Where are my reading glasses? That's what I'm thinking. That sort of thing for some people.
I think that is a good point. I don't know how big I'd have to make it so somebody could read it without their reading glasses. So I'd have to consult with somebody to figure out that size. I wanted to make it so it would fit in a luggage tag, because I thought that would really be good for a go bag. And if it isn't, then it gets more complicated for people to figure out how to attach it to their go bag. Any other feedback?
Yeah, I got 3 comments. One, to Vic's question about magnets versus being sort of mobile, as he called it. Have you looked at printing it on, there's sort of, I'll call it sticky plastic for lack of a better term. Something that you can put on something and peel off, because a lot of people now have stainless steel refrigerators and stuff. Magnets don't stick to them anymore. But if we had some, a sort of plastic, like the kind you can put on your car, that it's not magnetic, but it's just I think it sticks for static electricity or something, but something that could stick, but then you could peel it off. That might sort of get you both the sticker aspect and the magnet aspect.
That's exactly what we have in mind, Vic.
Yeah, great. Okay, perfect. And then on the Zone Haven number, is your plan to print a bunch of these with Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4, and then people would get one that's appropriate?
Well, that's kind of the next part of the project. I was able, luckily, I believe, to ask Chip Swan if he knew how I could get all the addresses divided by zone number. And he said he had gotten them from Zone Haven. And he gave me a spreadsheet that lists roughly 1,500 addresses, and they are divided by zone haven number. So it would allow us to actually print an envelope for the house at 30 Valencia Court, and know that that is going to be zone E002. And then we would print the number of stickers that we need for that zone, and then just put them in the envelope and be able to mail them to each household.
Great. Okay, that sounds perfect. And then just print a few extras to keep around.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then to Marianne's, might think about, in terms of reading this in an emergency, it seems like there's only two things on here that I need, which is my zone and the 1680. The rest of it is, stuff I'm going to need my reading glasses. I'm going to need to get to a computer. So you might make the 1680 and the zone the easy things to read. You've obviously done that with the zone. You might think about the 1680 being a little bit easier to see.
Good suggestion, Craig. Thank you. Good suggestion.
Dale, I'm sorry to interrupt here. Maybe cut to the head of the line, but I wanted to share something that I think might be really helpful as we're talking through these suggestions. The fire chief and the fire chief introduced me to the head of the Fire Foundation, and we had lunch last week. And the Fire Foundation is very interested in supporting identified activity in town. We kept it pretty broad, but we were focused in our conversation on opportunities around communications with the public and evacuations. And I'd mentioned some of the work that Jerry's doing. So to that extent, what I would throw out is we may not need to pick one way to do this. Maybe we come up with 3 ways to do it and everybody gets 3 ways to do it. So with Dale, with your permission, maybe Jerry and I can have an offline conversation about what that could potentially look like. Thank you.
That would be great. We've allocated $4,000 out of our budget. And if there are multiple opportunities, I think this committee would probably support it. So Jerry, are you okay with that?
Absolutely. And, there's definitely a process that's going to have to take place once we confirm that this is the sticker that we want, in terms of printing them, printing the letter, packaging it, and getting it out. And I wasn't thinking I was going to do 1,500 of these in my dining room table. So,
No, we can do something a little bit different here. I think the research changed. So let's talk, Jerry.
Great, thanks.
Sorry, I hate to jump to the front of the line as well. Can I piggyback off of that as well, Jerry?
Sure, go ahead, Rob.
I was talking after the last meeting when there was all that brainstorming going on. I talked with Selena. We have the WPV Ready Insert store where you can get equipment, and there was a lot of back and forth, which what might be better for what individual, whether it be a magnet or a luggage tag or whatever. And so brainstorming continued to where we can add all those different types into the store, that if people want to purchase, or whatever we can do moving forward, if the foundation is involved with this, that we can have alternatives. So it's you can do one mass mailer of one type as it's figured out, but then have all these alternatives as well.
That'd be great. Could I ask you one other question? Because I sort of heard this from somebody not too long ago, that the fire district might be dividing some of the zones into like an A and a B for evacuation.
No.
That could really mess this.
We already had that discussion, so that's all that is splitting of zones, and that was a good intention, but it proved to cause a lot of questions and headaches, and that's the last thing we wanted to do. The one thing that I would say though, on the zones, as you're doing it, you have zone E002. There is the identifier of the town as well. So you have for Portola Valley, it's PV. So you'd have PV E002.
Right.
Given the fact that we're so close to, residents of Woodside and residents of San Mateo County. So like residents in Ladera will have an SMC code, prior to their number. So you might want to just make sure you put that identifier as well.
Right.
Okay, I see Karen has her hand up.
Yeah, for somebody who's been wearing reading glasses since I was about 32, I think. I completely echo Marianne and Craig Taylor's thoughts on what is important to me here is seeing my zone number and seeing the 1680. And those are way, way, way too small. And all the other information to me is long-term planning. So I would reduce the font on like my emergency information, all this other stuff, and make those two things really big because it might be dark and smoky and you may not have your reading glasses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think you have lots of information. Do we have any other comments for Jerry? Jerry, do you?
Dave House has his hand up.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we all have our phones. So however you come up with this thing, we can take a picture of it and make it 16:9 or any size you want.
Dale, I have a question about next steps in terms of approval process. Do we want to, we will, of course, redesign this with the suggestions that were made. But how do you want to work the approval process for the final one? Do you want me to bring it back in December? How do you want to do it?
I guess this committee would probably like to get a final approval on it. If you could do it in December, that would be great. We could just you could put, if you have a couple of different choices, we could also put those in a packet for the December, Jerry.
Okay.
But if you come with a final version and some recommendations, I think this committee would be very pleased to approve it.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. Next, we're going to go on to item number 10, which is the safety element discussions. For those of you who were on the multi-committee meeting I believe it was last Thursday, we are going to be evaluating the safety element. We already fortunately have a subcommittee, so that subcommittee will be meeting over the course of November, and Rob will be in charge. We have, let's see, Jerry, Craig, Rob, who else, Rob, signed up at that meeting? Marianne had wanted some input.
Actually, I sign up if you have space, and I think you do. I just didn't know how many could be on the subcommittee. Rob, do you have space for me?
Yeah, can I just share my screen for a second, Dale?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, so as Dale said last week in that meeting, we voted that the EPC would do this as a subcommittee, which means that over this month of November, we can have several meetings. We were given two major goals. That is that in December, we're supposed to give back to the town staff questions that we have of the draft. And then as we're working on this in December, we're going to be making any suggestions. As Dale just said, it was decided that we're going to work on this as a subcommittee. In that meeting that we had, which was a public meeting, Jerry and Craig volunteered, which means that that really left it at 4 people. Marianne said that she had lots to input, but we can add one more and still be a subcommittee. Marianne, if you'd like to join. I'll take that as an affirmative.
I would like to. I just didn't know at the public meeting if we're, that's why I made a comment.
Okay. The other thing that the town staff has done that's going to be wonderful is they're creating a web portal so that the residents that have both questions and suggestions for the safety element can put those on that web portal. They will be sending to this subcommittee weekly or at least that rate, all of those suggestions so that we can actually see what the town residents are thinking. My experience in the past is I greatly appreciate the expertise and the insight that our town residents provide in our town plans. And I think that will, I really want to be able to study that to make sure that I fully have understood that. The town residents also can attend our the EPC's December and January committee meetings to provide other input to that work. Thanks, Dale. I'm sorry to butt in there.
Nope, that's perfect, Rob. And so, and if we have other people who would like to submit comments or so on, please contact, Rob probably is the point guy here. So we'll be circulating some times for meetings for that subcommittee. Okay, if there are no other questions, we're going to move on to our next item, which is the fire department and report. Chief, floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. I'll make mine really quick because you've been talking about almost everything that we're doing in the first part of your agenda. As far as our station build, there's concrete is being poured at both stations, or either foundations or pads. So that is all going successfully. We, what else did we do? Let me check. With the station build, I was going to thank Jeff Norris, but he already left. But all of our command staff, except for maybe 2 people, were trained on the Rave platform, so that went very well too. Great. And statewide fires, as you see, we had our blessing of rain and snow in the far north and the east. All successful. Southern California is generally the parts we really worry about at this time of year. So you get those offshore winds, and we've had a lot of big fires in the south. So we're all still prepared, but very nice addition to everything, having that rain. It was very helpful, and we just hope for more. That's all I got.
Okay, Selena.
Hi guys, I'll make mine quick too because I submitted a report. First of all, the barbecue on this weekend has been changed from Saturday to Sunday. It's our CERT badging and barbecue. So we're encouraging our CERT members to come and get badged and check out radios, purchase radios, and several other things. And we'll be providing a wonderful barbecue. Please wish us well weather. We already know it's going to be cold and rain. Craig, I can't wait to see you there. As well, the only 2 other things I really wanted to mention is we just had a board meeting for SERP, the name that will not be spoken soon hereafter. We added 2 members, Alicia Maines in Bear Gulch and Chris Paprika in Los Trigos Vista Verde. So now we have great representation from all areas of the fire district, and we have a very full roster. So we're really excited to welcome them on board as well. There was a motion, and it was unanimously approved to change our name from SERP to EPIC. So EP lowercase I-C, and that stands for Emergency Preparedness in Communities. So hopefully that will alleviate any confusion between SERP and CERT moving forward from this point on. So wish us luck. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Selena. Good luck on Sunday. Chris, you got your hand up.
I do, because I need to leave at 9 o'clock. So a couple of comments. My subcommittee report has been covered by all these things, including the now EPIC board decision, which is a great thing. Thank you, Selena, for driving that. And 2, recognizing that these meetings are getting more agenda items, more actions. If we need to extend the length of the meeting, if we could consider moving it to a different time. I can't go past 9 o'clock on Thursday mornings. That just doesn't work. And I don't know if others have that issue. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Chris. We'll probably can't agendize it today. We will agendize it for the next meeting and see if we can find a time. I may soon send out a doodle poll, see if there's any better time for folks. Okay, thanks, Chris. On to item 12, town report.
Thank you, Dale. I'll just speak to the two items on the place on the agenda as I spoke to the other items I was going to bring up. Melvin Gaines has been working with our new internet IT consulting firm Stepford on backup internet options and has some thoughts on that, and we'll be reaching out to the chair this month on next steps. So I'm sure we'll be bringing a recommendation forward pretty quickly. The Cal Water item has just been I'll just say it, a nightmare with multiple staff changes at Cal Water. We tend to just restart every couple months. So I don't have an update right now. I'm as you can probably tell in my voice, I am very frustrated by this at this point. And I hope to have more positive news at some point in the future. Thank you.
Okay. And there's nothing else there. We're going to move on to subcommittee reports. And first one is COM. That's Ray.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm going to follow on Jeremy. Jeremy, quite specifically, I share your pain on the AM radio thing. But I would offer this volunteer and others perhaps to assist. Rob just raised his hand to assist that. In fact, if you'll, Chris, all right, Dale, okay. Well, now I've got the A team to get it off your plate and get it done. I mean, you may recall I just went through 2 years with Redwood City and got the Easter Cross gear up there, including some construction and management of the general contractor, all that sort of stuff. So I'm happy to do that. I'm retired. I've got some time, I think. Why do I want to do this? Because we have it here. It works perfectly. I have a lot of control. I'm excited by all the progress that we're making with regard to evacuation and all this planning and all this sort of stuff. And I can see the AM radio needing to go live, needing to be, someone at town hall or wherever talking on the thing. And presently, it would be hard to do that. So what I would propose is that we make some electronic modifications to it to make it usable over the internet, as well as available at the transmitter itself for live communications. And we, fix it, make it right, really button it down, put it in a weatherproof cage. Right now, the existing cage is the factory thing, and the spiders do get in and what have you. But anyway, I offer that to the EPC and to the town to have a committee fix it and make it right.
Ray, why don't we have a conversation offline? I'd love to hear more of your thoughts. So I'll shoot.
Okay.
Thanks. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, you bet. Otherwise, comms doing great. All the radios are green, as you can see from the report. We are still tweaking the data link between Easter Cross and Granada, but it's all going well. Related to that, Larry Sweeney and I are also working on another small microwave network in the Bay Area. Anyway, that's TBD, but things are going well. And eventually I'll get down to town at a moment when I can get in and check on the batteries and the radios and stuff that we have at Town Center, because I suspect they need some maintenance or review at least, and the batteries may need replacing. And Dale, we have to spend our money by 12:30 or by 6:30?
By 6:30.
Okay, so I'm not.
No, you're not up against anything here.
All right, because there's probably about $500 or $1,000 worth of maintenance materials. So anyway, report concluded. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Any other subcommittees that would like to bring something up that's not in their report?
Can I just share this for a sec?
Oh, absolutely.
I wanted to alert people that in the evacuation subcommittee that the school evacuation plan will be starting to be kicked off on November 16th at 6 p.m. at Ormondale. I think that this is wonderful. We're going to start being able to see how parents feel about this too. I am looking forward also to moving ahead on the items that we have prioritized that Vic presented here, and look forward to talking to Jeremy about some of those things. I would encourage if there are other people that want to be involved in the evacuation subcommittee to, start being involved in it if you want to. Thanks, Dale.
Great.
Dale, this is Lynn. This
Hi,
is
Lynn.
Lynn checking in. I have to leave the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, and timing is fortuitous. I think we have got all the subcommittee reports. And the next regular meeting is December the 1st. And it looks like we're going to have a packed agenda. So is there anything anybody else needs to bring up now? Okay, with that, I will accept, and I am impressed, all of you, that we actually finished with only 2 minutes over our time.
We started late too, by 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so perfect timing. Thank you all so much.
right.
Do I have a
Thanks,
motion
Dale.
to adjourn?
Motion.
approved.
Bye.
Second.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you all. See you next month.